Now let's get into what Joe Budden said about Drake and then Drake responding to Joe Budden, because what Joe Budden said was true and what Drake said was true. I agree with both parties on this. I think Drake cooked Joe Budden for what it's worth as well. So let's get into that. So Joe Budden, and I watched the full episode of Joe Budden's podcast where he's talking about the Drake. He didn't really, if you actually watch the full episode, they didn't really shit on Drake. Like if you take that clip that he's talking about Drake, I could see where people could say he's shit on him. But that's the problem with a lot of media outlets nowadays, is that, or just in general, when you're reviewing and talking about things, people just listen to the negative. They don't listen to the whole, thing. And that happens to me. When I did the Eminem versus Machine Gun Kelly, I praised Eminem for God knows how long, and I just said, hey, I like this song better than this song, and boom, everybody shitted on me, got mad, and said fuck you and hate you. It's like people just listen to that little negative thing. I even do it sometimes when people leave comments on my videos or message me. They'll say, bro, I love your content, and then they'll throw this negative thing, and I'll just pay attention to that. And it's like, bro, he said all these nice things, and then I just pay attention to that. Everybody does it. I check myself as often as I can on that because, everybody has their own opinions and stuff. So Joe Budden basically just said, I'm going to see if I can play the clip for you guys because I might get copyrighted because Joe Budden's got his whole own platform here. But basically just Joe Budden said, hey, you need to sound more like yourself, essentially, and not try to sound like the new sound. But, that's kind of something that's going to fire back at Joe because of, I'll explain to you guys why, but let me play the clip.
He rapping for the children. And that's yo, dog, I had to look up how old this nigga was when I finished listening to the album. Mm-hmm. You are 36. Your birthday is in 20 days. I Googled that too. You will be 37 years old. Get the fuck away from some of these younger niggas and stop fucking these 25-year-olds.
I agree with what Joe Budden's saying. A lot of the music sounds way too much catered to the TikTok audience, to younger kids. Yachty's influence on it is a lot. You can tell Yachty's kind of made him more younger, more youthful, and more for the kids. But here's the crazy take for me. His older albums sound more mature than his newer albums. That's wild, right? Because he was younger when he released his older albums. But the older he's got, the more he sounded catering more to like TikTok and newer kids. Which to me is crazy. It's like a flip. You would think the Thank Me Later, Take Care, Nothing Was the Same would be stuff, now that he would be making. And these type of last Certified Lover Boy, Honestly Never Mind, and, For All the Dogs would be, and even the Her Loss with 21 Savage would be projects he would release as a new artist. But it's flipped. But I think that's where the secret sauce comes with Drake, is that's why he's had longevity. So it's like a double-edged sword here, where if he doesn't cater to the new crowd, he's going to be considered old, and then he's not going to be relevant, and people are going to clown him and say whatever they say. If he does cater to the new crowd, you get stuff like this where you're too old to be rapping like this, you're too old to be doing this. So there's no way you can win. At this point, it's about making music that he wants to make, and that's what he caters. That's what he likes. He likes newer sounds, newer things. And Drake should not be, and this is the burden that Drake gets. This is where I respect Drake to an immense level that no artist has had to deal with. And I'm telling you right now, no artist has had to deal with this. Drake is expected to carry the new sound still after 15 years. That should not be the case. There should be right now an artist, and unfortunately, I think a lot of these artists that had the newer sounds died. XXXTentacion, Pop Smoke, Juice WRLD. Those three, I can even throw Lil Peep in there. I've listened to Lil Peep's music. It is something different. Had he been alive, I think he would have been another one of those that would have carried a new sound. Unfortunately, a lot of those people that were carrying new sounds and bringing new energy have died. So it leaves this gap, and Drake being this number one guy all the time, everybody's looking at him for the new wave, the new sound. What is he going to do? At his level, though, he shouldn't have to create the new sound. He shouldn't have to carry anything. He shouldn't have to do. He should just be doing music, and he's the top guy. He should do whatever he wants to do, and people should, for the most part, gravitate to it. Now, here's the thing: Drake did do that house music type of sound with Honestly Never Mind. It just didn't hit. It was a great attempt, and I feel like had it been executed better, more people would have gone to that sound and would have followed Drake's path. And that's wild after, because what, he dropped that in 2022 after what, 14 years, 13 years, whatever. People would follow Drake's sound after that. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, and the feedback for the album was very bad, and I can see why. It was just not executed properly. But I salute, like I said, I always salute artists that try new things, that try new styles, whatever, but just fall short. I'd rather you try new things and fall short than consistently stick to some bullshit sound and, you know, get boring over the years. So Drake's always been the type to kind of try new things, and people throw that bullshit culture vulture shit, which I disagree. I don't think he's a culture vulture at all. He's just trying new sounds. That whole culture vulture term is just, it's ridiculous. But, you know, so Joe Budden saying this, you know, you're trying to, you know, trying to cater. I want you to go more old. If he does that, if he gives more mature stuff, it's not going to hit with audio. Like, he's not going to get those number ones. He's not going to be the top dominant guy like everybody's saying anymore. Because now you're catering to a different audience that doesn't stream as much, that doesn't purchase as much, that doesn't, you know, keep you relevant with like likes, shares, all this stuff on social media. So, you know, it's a slippery slope, man. As an artist at this point in your career, you're gonna get pulled in every which way, man. And that happens to everyone, every content creator. I've even got pulled in directions. Do this type of content. Do this. I want you to do this type of videos. There are people that are literally telling me, all I want from you and all the type of videos you should do is who really won videos, and that's it. Or what happened to videos, and that's it. Imagine if I just did those. Like, I would fall off the face of the earth and nobody would give a fuck after a while. So that's why I've expanded, done different things. I have to expand and do different things, or else, you know, I don't grow with the times, you know. But, you know, at Drake's level is a whole different level. You're dealing with something that's a multi-billion-dollar thing. Like, he brings in billions. He's worth $1 billion. He brings in billions. So obviously, this stuff's a lot more calculated. A lot more relies on him. So his sound, he shouldn't be the one carrying it, man. There should be somebody new. And like I said, I feel like all those people died, and it's unfortunate. But I think as maybe there's gonna be somebody new that comes along that brings new energy. And I think Pop Smoke was the last one to do that. Juice WRLD was there. XXX Tentacion was there. Lil Peep, but Pop Smoke was the most recent one. And he brought something new, more aggressive, deeper sounding voice, less of the mimicking and more of the new drill, whatever you want to call it, that sound that came from the UK. But he, you know, unfortunately he passed away. So after Joe Budden said that, caught headlines all over the place, Drake responded to him. And to be honest with you, he's not wrong. He has his right. Joe Budden has his right. So let's read what Drake has said. You have failed at music. You left it behind to do what you're doing in this clip because this is what actually pays your bills. For any artist watching this, just remember you're watching a failure give their opinion on his idea of a recipe for success. A quitter give their opinion on how to achieve longevity. You switch careers because the things that pop into your brain had you broke living check to check, and the raps you write had 450 men showing up to your shows in dusty NC jeans to screw up their face to New Music 29 and pretend you are the GOAT. Please, to any artist that's doing what they feel is right, don't let these opinions affect your mindset after the fact. This guy is the poster child of frustration and surrendering. You retired and we never hung up your jersey. We don't even remember your number. We know you for doing this. You withdrew from rap, not because you accomplished all you need to. It's because it wasn't working for you. I never want anybody in the generations to think that the whole everybody's entitled to their opinion is a real thing. This is a man projecting his own self-hate and the fact that I did and continued to do everything he wanted to do for himself. If you need it, put it in simpler terms. If you need to put it in simpler terms, I own a 767, which is talking about his own jet. He owns a modest house in the 973 and flies first class on special occasions. A modest house. That is hilarious. Joe Budden responded and said, you'll grow up sooner or later. Father Time is undefeated. Here's the thing about this. Drake is right. Joe Budden never got mainstream success in his music. But that doesn't make Joe Budden a bad artist. Joe Budden has great music. He is a great artist. And the fact is, Drake would rap like Joe Budden a while ago. Back in 2008, 2007. He would get a lot of his style from Joe Budden. He even admitted that. And he's praised Joe Budden. back in 2009, 2010. Joe Budden has it on his own YouTube channel when he started Joe Budden TV back then. So Drake completely clowning Joe Budden as somebody as dismissible. And then they had that little beef where Joe Budden was giving him bars, whooping Drake's ass. And all Drake could do was hop on a song with French Montana and give him a little subliminals. Which I'm going to talk about the whole, how Drake could rejuvenate his career and make it very interesting a little bit down the line. But Joe Budden has a point and Drake has a point. There's nothing wrong with critiquing. If you become a public figure, everybody's going to critique you. There's nothing wrong with that. I think everybody's critiquable. Now, I don't think you should consume everybody's critique. Like Drake listening to me, right? I'm just some fucking YouTuber with 600,000 subscribers. Cool. I'm not this big, guy who's going to dictate, the culture and what people listen to. I'm not at that level. If I get to that level like Joe Budden's at, different story. And then I can see why he would go back and forth with me. But me saying, let's just say I don't like this album, I don't say this, fuck Drake at this, that doesn't matter. That shouldn't matter to him. He should he should pay attention to critiques from people that are at his level or at our high level. So Joe Budden's up there, but not like musically. He's never reached that high level. So I can see how Drake could have just ignored what Joe Budden said. But clearly, what Joe Budden said got to Drake. In one way or another, it did affect him, because to write this long paragraph in response to Joe Budden says something. It says that what Joe Budden said has some truth to it. And I agree with Joe Budden. I think we've had that Drake TikTok, I remember he dropping Tootsie Slide with that dance. Like, that song went #1 just for that week, but hey, everybody was doing the dance, whatever the fuck, not the Kiki in my feelings, but, put your left leg, I don't know what the fuck the record was about, but Tootsie Slide, like, that was another record that was like catering TikTok, and I get it. That's kind of what's kept his relevance, but what would make Drake even greater if he could keep his relevance doing something totally different and not catering to the new generation. That's another thing that would give him a lot more props. But Drake can't do it all. Actually, there's a certain point where I thought he could do it all. I mean, I'm like, damn, this guy is not stopping with hits. Like, Drake deserves a lot more praise, a lot more love. Like, when this guy officially retires, doesn't drop any new music, gets old, a lot more people are going to remember how great he is, because he's done a lot, man. He's done a lot, consistently churning out hits. That's not fucking easy, man. If that was easy, a lot of artists would have kept it. Mind you, a lot of artists could only hold on to that dominance for 3-4 years, maybe at best. Most artists. Eminem held on to it till 2003. 50 then took it on from 2003 to what? You could say 2006, 2007 if you want to stretch it. Then from 2007 to 2010, you could say Kanye and Lil Wayne had dominance a couple years, and Kanye all of a sudden had dominance. But most people can't hold that. And then after that, after Kanye, it was pretty much Drake. There was years where Kendrick had the better album, or maybe J. Cole, but Drake damn near like chart-wise, sales-wise, he was #1 with a bullet. There's nobody that could even compete. I think both have points, and now I want to talk about For All the Dogs. And I want to talk about what I think about the album, and what my favorite tracks are, why I'm not really, why I'm disappointed, because, well, let's get into it. Okay, so For All the Dogs, 23 tracks, a little lengthy. First off, I don't like when Drake does these long ass albums. I'm not a fan of it. I think if he condensed a lot of albums, they would be a lot greater. Like Scorpion is one of them. That if that was condensed more, it'd be a really great album. But that's neither here or there. As long as the music's good, I don't give a fuck about the length. But the music here isn't what, and I'm not surprised. This isn't something that I'm surprised by. I expected this. And yeah. So overall, and this is going to sound crazy, I only like 3 tracks off the album. That's it. The first one, First Person Shooter featuring J. Cole. Enjoyed the hell out of this record. Felt like J. Cole had something to prove, delivered, and spanked Drake, and just basically told everybody, like, I'm the best rapper. And J. Cole right now, I think, is the best rapper out. And here's what J. Cole has done that I've really, really loved. J. Cole would get a lot of criticism on Twitter when he would drop albums. I remember it. He would get a lot of criticism. People would, joke, say he's boring, he's this and that. Or like they would say they sleep to his music. As the years went on, J. Cole's gotten better and better and better and better. and is delivering verse after verse after verse after verse after verse. It's just wiping the floor with everybody. Now, even when somebody that's, because people are saying, oh, J. Cole is delivering these amazing verses against artists like Lil Yachty. Who cares? Those artists can't rap. Well, you got somebody with Drake, who's one of the best, arguably, rappers out there right now, bar for bar. And he washes him. It's not even fucking close. Like, anybody that thinks that Drake even, had anything next to J. Cole washed him. That's what I mean. Like, J. Cole has proved all the criticism online he gets, he's proved them wrong because he's gotten better and better and better. And I could argue that J. Cole is possibly the only artist that throughout the years has actually gotten better and has actually sold more, aged well better with the music, dominated more in charts as the years went on. When he started, he wasn't doing that. He's doing all right. Boom, boom, boom. Each year, each album, boom, boom, just got better and better. I could argue that. That's a great argument I could make because he's about to probably score his first number one with Drake with his first-person shooter. I know it's probably not going to stay at number one, so I don't really count it as a number one, but that's huge for Drake. I mean, J. Cole, because that just shows growth. He's that Lil Durk All My Life, that debuted at number 2, which is something that J. Cole's never had, a song debut that high up. So things are going in. The ironic thing about this J. Cole thing is he's naming his projects like the fall off. He's going to fall off and he's not going to be relevant anymore. Like he's predicting his fall off, but it's been the opposite. Like he's grown and he's gotten a lot bigger as the years went on, a lot better, bar for bar. So that's somebody that proved the critics wrong, that proved all these people wrong, and didn't go on like Instagram comments or respond to people, and say this type of stuff. That's another thing that Drake would critique Meek Mill about being Twitter fingers, but now he's being that. He's being Instagram comment fingers, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Instead of responding to Joe Budden like this, instead of responding to critics, what would make Drake one of the greatest of all time is do what Eminem did. Eminem dropped a double ass cheek, triple ass cheek album with Revival. And I don't care. Nobody can convince me otherwise. That album was dookie. And any Eminem stan that thinks it wasn't is out of their fucking mind because everybody universally agrees that album was Duke Cheeks, okay? That album was so bad that Eminem held in all that shitty critiques, everybody that was shitting on it, just a big pile of dookie shit piling up, held in all that, smelled it, damn near ate it, sniffed it, everything, and decided to come back with Kamikaze, critiquing everybody else. And delivered a fire fucking album. I love Kamikaze. I think I ranked Kamikaze really high up when I ranked Eminem's albums. It's one of my favorite albums from Eminem. It's up there. I loved it. Because not only is he talking shit back to people, but delivering actually great music. I think only 2 tracks on there I don't like. And it was the Good Guy, Bad Guy records. I forget what the fuck they're titled. But that's what Drake should do. Stop responding in the comments. Prove you're one of the GOATs. Battle with the best. Respond. Enough with the subliminals. I'm tired of guessing what bars about who. On this album, he allegedly throws shots at Pusha T. It says, I pull up in Virginia, whatever the fuck. And then he throws shots at The Weeknd. Oh, we bump, Party Next Door, not The Weeknd. Whoever else he's throwing shots at. Rihanna. But we have to guess these fucking subliminals. We have to guess if he's throwing these shots. Throw some fucking names out there, bro. And people are like, oh, Drake will give him clout if he throws names out there. Clout. Shut the fuck up, all right? Artists that are big, here's a perfect example. I hate to have to bring up this GOAT, the GOAT, 50 Cent. Top of his game, Massacre, 1.14 million sold in 4 days, 5 days, whatever. Insane sales, dominating. What does he do? Drops piggy bank, calls out everybody. Says, fuck it, like 7, 8 artists can diss on the track. Because everybody wants it, let's go. All y'all. I'll take y'all machine gun. Let's blast all y'all. That's what Drake should do, man. Be in that competitive. That would ignite Drake. Because Eminem, that's where he got his ignition with Kamikaze. Boom, that shit skyrocketed. Boom, it sold 500,000 first week. Boom, everybody was talking about him. People were fucking with the music. That's the same thing what would happen with Drake. If he just took all those critiques, all these people saying this person's better than this person, respond to Kendrick. All the subliminals, go directly at him. All this shit Joe Budden, go directly at him. All shit Charlemagne, go directly at him. Anybody throwing shots. Anybody. Go directly at him. Drop something like Kamikaze. And I would lose my mind, especially if it's fire, because obviously you could potentially miss with that, but at the end of the day, it's rare. When you have that like fire under you, that people are critiquing you, talking shit, you would come out with some of the best music ever. But I'm going off track here. I think First Person Shooter is a great track. Not even good, but just great. Overall, great record. I don't give a fuck with Yeet. That's pretty good. It's decent. I'm not really a big fan of Yeet. Let's see here where I go. Because I bumped this album 4 times. So 8 a.m. in Charlotte. Loved it. Bars. I think people clowning him for the Yugoslavia line and those things. I think I enjoyed it. I loved it. Video is dope too. So salute to Drake. That's a great record. 8 a.m. Charlotte. I do hate the subliminals though. If you're going at somebody, go directly. Or I don't really give a fuck to hear about, what you young boys, like go at NBA young boy. Don't just say you young boys. If you're going at NBA young boy, let me make it clear. Stop fucking throwing subliminals here. And my favorite track on this album, Away From Home. I enjoy this track. I love the hook, marble floors, whatever the fuck he's saying, but it just reflecting on his past. I enjoyed this track a lot. This is my favorite track on the album, Away From Home. I like this type of music from Drake, more mature music. I hate records like Rich Baby Daddy, who pop that pussy, and like fucking Sexy Red is a plague. Like, she is horrible as an artist. I don't know how she got put on. I dislike her to the utmost. She is just not good for hip hop, period. I just don't like her at all. I don't know her as a person. I'm not saying personally. I just know she brings nothing to hip hop in any way, shape, or form. So her, I don't know why the fuck she's on this album. That's another reason I'm just like, this album's fucking horrible, because it's like, why put this person on it? But 3 tracks, 4 I could say that I enjoy. The rest are either horrible, bad, average, or decently good. Decent, good. Good is like, it's like I can maybe listen to it. Maybe it'll grow on me. And what are those type of records like Amen? That's a good record that could probably grow on me. That's it. This album to me is like a 4 out of 10, maybe. And the disappointment comes, and this is what I fucking mean. Disappointment comes if you're going to name an album for all the dogs. I'm hearing, for that title, I want something, boom, aggressive. For all the dogs, men are aggressive, alpha males. I want something direct. You talking your shit. Listen, I'm about to fucking beat it, Michael Jackson. I'm gonna fucking surpass Michael Jackson, which he mentions, on that First Person Shooter. But I want more of that. I want direct shots. Talk to people. Say you're the fucking GOAT, and nobody can even step foot in this fucking realm with you, and make it clear who you're talking to. Don't have the subliminal Kendrick shots. Don't have subliminal Youngboy shots. Don't have subliminal fucking Pusha T shots. I want directness. You're talking about for all the dogs, dog. Like, so that's where I stand with this album. I'm not really a fan of it. This is why Drake needs a hiatus, a break, and I don't blame him, man. I don't think Drake should be having this burden. Drake is a fucking immense talent, one of the greatest of all time, period. Like, anybody debating that, he's top 10 all time. You could argue top 5. So I'm not saying this to disrespect him. I'm saying this out of not being a yes man. Because anybody who thinks this album is one of Drake's best albums, has one of, like Lil Yachty said like weeks before the album came out, oh, it's going to be one of Drake's best albums, some of the best lyrical things ever you're going to hear from him. That was the most inaccurate shit ever, bro. I didn't hear anything that was like top 50 of Drake songs. This doesn't even come close. Maybe Far Away From Home. Actually, that might be or not Far Away From Home, but Away From Home, the record. That might be one of my favorite Drake records. That's not my favorite of all time, but definitely top 20, maybe, for me. I don't know. I got to think that through, but I enjoy that record a lot. I don't like the album, man. I'm just going to be honest. Like I said, like, I can't, there's nothing that I can get into. Or maybe I'm getting old. I don't know. I'm only 28, so I think just rap in general has been so trash for a while right now that I'm just like, this year, like the sales, I think Juicy J tweeted it. Sales is like plummeted 40% because the music has been repetitive garbage. We need something new. I think we're going to go back to the boom bap days because a lot of fashion is trending towards that. Like, a lot of older stuff is being cooler now. Like, my friend was talking about one of those old, like, Polar cameras, whatever, those Polaroid cameras, whatever they're fucking called. People are starting to use them now. A lot of the older 90s stuff is coming back. So I wouldn't mind if, like, boom bap hip hop, like, more 90s stuff started coming back, more bars. I wouldn't mind that at all, honestly. Like, if that became the cool thing and all of a sudden those records go number 1. I would be totally for that. I'm all for going back a little bit to kind of, reframe things. But, it would have been interesting if Juice WRLD was alive, Pop Smoke, X, these people, if they were alive, what would have happened to hip hop? I think it would have definitely changed. It would have been a different thing. And I don't think Drake would have been like dominant like this. It's because those people passed away that it kind of, has kind of not really evolved. Travis Scott did Utopia. I get it. Sold insane sales, but that album came and went. I don't really. What was I excited for this year? Lil Durk's album, but that was all right. Gunna's album, that was pretty good. Maybe I'm forgetting. I'm probably forgetting a lot of projects because Diddy album's pretty good, but that's not really hip hop. It's R&B. So, there hasn't been really much of anything that I've enjoyed in hip hop, and I don't blame Drake for wanting to take a break. I think he needs to get out of it because it's like, you're not really innovating, and you shouldn't be expected to innovate because you've been in this game for too long. It should be other people. So, rap and hip hop in general has been kind of boring, and this album just kind of puts a stamp on it. Just to confirm it that this is not, it's not going. He might break these records and have these tracks go number one, but are they really sticking? When's the last time have you heard a Drake record stick, and been this like all crazy record that everybody's bumping? It's been a minute, man. Now, you can do that 21. Can you do something for me? I heard the shit out of that. Can you do something for me? Everybody was saying that. Cool. Do we have like records like In My Feelings where that shit was everywhere? Kiki, do you love me? Are you riding? I heard that shit. I couldn't fucking escape it. Everywhere. It's been a minute since we've got something like that from Drake. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think Certified Lover Boy had records here and there. But there hasn't been like a dominant Drake where it's just like, it's Drake. God's plan. God's plan. That's Scorpion again. That was the last time Drake had his kind of like dominant year. Like it was like it was like, all right, this is Drake. It's Drake. That's all we're getting this summer is Drake or whatever time of the year. So, yeah, man, that's my take on the For All the Dogs. I'm not gonna go over every fucking track 'cause I don't really like every track. Like I said, those three, First Person Shooter, 8 a.m. in Charlotte, and Away From Home. Those three are amazing. I can even throw. What's that record that I mentioned earlier? I'm tripping right now. But yeah, you could throw like, the Amen record, a Tizo Touchdown, in there. But really anything else? Maybe the record with Yeet. I don't give a fuck. But that's even I don't know. I'm kind of here and there with it. But yeah, that's it. That's it for my talk on this Drake shit. But Drake, like I said, Drake should either take a break or if you want, clap back at people, man. Drop something that you're directly going at people. Make sure you're making it clear you're dominant here. Other than that, you've kind of just been this TikTok rapper that's adjusting to new sounds, which has kept you relevant for the most part. But you're losing people's ear. And I remember there's an interview that Drake did in 2013 when he dropped Nothing Was the Same. It was on 106 in Park, and this one Bow Wow was hosting 106 in Park. And Bow Wow threw some question out there. It was like, yo, I don't know what the fuck he asked. Some question. And Drake responded saying, I'm going to keep doing this until people feel like they don't want to hear me anymore. And I will gracefully bow out. But I don't want to bow out when I'm like, like Shaq on the Suns. When Shaq was, not Shaq anymore. And Michael Jordan was on the Washington Wizards where he wasn't, Michael Jordan anymore. And then Kobe after the Achilles thing, he just wasn't himself anymore. That's kind of where we're gotten with Drake right now, I think. And I think anybody disagreeing and saying, oh, he's doing all these sales and numbers. Yes, Drake will do numbers. Shit, Eminem did numbers. But it's not like Eminem's delivering great albums like that either with Revival and Marshall Mathers LP2. I don't like those two albums from him, but that's a whole different discussion. But yeah, that's it for me for Drake. I think he should take a break. If you want to go at people, go directly at them. I think that will make you more respected, rejuvenated, make you more hungrier. I don't think Drake should be expected to carry the sound. Drake has been delivering what's the sound for a while. Salute him for that. He's had one of the best runs. But right now it's time for him to kind of just disappear. Go away for a little bit. Don't be on social media. Just make people wonder what the fuck you're up to and what's going on. And then shit, boom, out of nowhere, just drop your fucking album. That would be exciting. In 3 years, we hear from you. 3 years is fine. I'm willing to wait 3 years when you reach 40 years old. Maybe then you mature up a little bit. Music comes more mature. But I don't want to hear from you. After he's saying I'm going to take a break about a year. I don't want to. That's not no fucking break, Drake. You've been doing that shit. You've been dropping an album every single year. I don't want to hear you taking a break for a year. That's nothing. So yeah, that's my thoughts on For All the Dogs. That's my thoughts on what Joe Budden and Drake's going through. That's my thoughts on all that.